Today I have a little Pioneer receiver that was brought in from one of my customers to check it out. He hasn't used this thing in a long time and doesn't know what shape it's in. So we're going to put this one through its paces, give it a clean up, and check it out. Today I have a little Pioneer of SX434 receiver. Know nothing about it. Fellow that brought it to me says he's had it in storage for a while. He hasn't turned it on. I've just hooked it up. I haven't done anything. I haven't even plugged it in, but I haven't actually turned it on yet. We'll turn it on today and see whether this thing needs any work. It probably needs to be cleaned up and stuff, but let's just check it in power on, speakers A. I hear noise. You guys probably didn't hear that because of the racket that the electric furnace behind me is making, but this thing was making noise. The volume is turned to minimum, balance in the middle, bass and treble set to flat. Let me kill the sound of the heater. See the noise? The volume's turned to minimum. Oh, we're getting sound. We're getting sound on it, but the volume's turned all the way down.
But in the middle of the Macy's men's department, there is a John Barbatos. Doc.
Okay, well, the volume's not turning it all the way down. That should be a relatively simple fix, I would think. But let's pull this one apart. And then we can talk about things that are on my mind for today, because I got a piece of mail, a letter in the mail today that, let's put it this way, I had to look at it and I just about had to pick myself up off the floor. So every year we get in the mail at the beginning of the year, we get an assessment on what our property is worth. And I think I've talked about this before. I live in a very expensive area of the Lower Mainland. Maybe not the most expensive, but it's an expensive area. And you know, a little small lot around here. And by small, I mean a lot that's like, 50 feet wide by 120 or 140 feet deep. That's a small lot. That's what size my lot is. But, in the past, we've talked about how expensive it is. A lot itself, with no house on it, would easily go for $1 million, easily, or above. A house that you're buying, that you're planning on tearing down, easily $1 million in the last couple of years. And they warned us that everything's going up. Look at the inside of this one. Not much to it, is there? What I did not expect, though, is that I looked at it and I thought there's got to be some mistake here. I mean, the average property across the board went up by maybe 30%. Mine went up a whopping 55%. And I just received my assessment. As I say, when I was looking at it, I was having heart palpitations, because my property is now, according to the assessment people, my property is worth a whopping $1.8 million, if you can believe it. I could sell my house today and I would expect to get a minimum of $1.8 million. Isn't that crazy? And some people say, well, that's good. But in reality, it kind of sucks, because the property tax you pay is based on what the assessed value is. So this year I'm probably going to be looking at a $10,000 tax bill, is what that means. So it's not good. It actually is bad. So I looked at this thing and went, Holy crap. There's got to be some mistake here. Anyway, I pondered over that for a while and turned on the radio and listened to everybody else phoning in to the talk show station bitching about the same thing that I'm just whining about now, how our property is over assessed. Anyway, look at this ridiculous amplifier. I'm going to pick on this thing for a bit. Look at the capacitors in this thing. They're tiny. 3300 microfarad, 25 volt. You know that this little amplifier does not have much power. This is maybe 20 watts per channel. SX434. I'm gonna guess 20 watts per channel. Now let's look it up and see how far I am off. Well, I was relatively close. So this receiver, according to Hi-Fi Engine, was produced and sold between 1974 and 1976. It was their budget-priced receiver. Yes, we can certainly see that. Its output power is 15 watts per channel. So I was off. I guessed 20 watts per channel, but it's actually not. It's 15 watts per channel with a 0.8% total harmonic distortion and a ridiculously low dampening factor of 25. So, you know, something like this is not going to shake any walls. It's a basic system that might be okay, like for a garage system. But it's got a real wood cabinet on it, real wood side pieces on here as well, and the bottom can come off. So what I'm going to do on this is I'm going to remove the bottom, and we'll see if we can get into those controls and clean it. I'm just doing a preliminary check over and see if we can make this thing work properly for the guy that owns it, because he can't really sell it like this, and I'm sure this is probably going to be a piece that he won't be hanging on to, because hey, they're not worth a heck of a lot of money, you know. But then, you know, I got a little bit for that Sony amplifier that I sold that had the nice wood cabinet. So you never know what someone's willing to pay, and this one's not in bad shape. There's no serious scratches or anything on it, so it might surprise you what something like this would go for. So I opened this up hoping I was going to be able to get at the controls here, but as you can see, it's on the wrong side of the board, so I guess I'm going to have to try and get to the controls from either side. So I can see the volume control down here. It's right back here. And I should be able to get in there with my cleaner, even without using too big of an extension nozzle. I should be able to get in. I got the flashlight going here and everything, so I can see what I'm doing. I should be able to get into that control right here and give it a shot. There's one side of it and the other side over here. We'll give this control a twist a bit and see whether that solves the problem. Okay, power on. Balance control seems to have a problem too. No volume. Get to some of the other controls down further. We certainly did not make this one easy to get at. And even worse than that, if you're required to change any parts on the board here, well, you know, to get to the outputs, for example, well, they're buried. All right, let's try it again. Okay, now I got both channels. So still a bit of dirt in there, isn't there? shot into that volume control there and see if I can get that last little bit of scratchiness resolved. Say these controls are not the easiest ones to get to. Now that's coming off my little stereo flea power transmitter, which I know doesn't have perfect left-right balance on it. One channel's a little bit lower than the other. I'm fully aware of that. So let's just plug in a source into the auxiliary input. And see how this sounds. I hear a hum. Oh, it's just the the contacts on the back here are dirty. So when I plug my patch cords in, that's the other thing. When you've got an old receiver, see, we're not getting a good ground connection. See, if I just touch that to the ground, the ground here it's no bloody good. So let's clean those up too. As you can see, the connections there are nicely pitted. So we're going to want to just try to remove some of that pitting. I'm just going to use some worn out aluminum oxide paper. This is, as you can see, very well worn. So it's not going to take anything off here other than some dirt. The idea is just to try and get the connection a little bit better, and then we'll put some cleaner on there as well. But we want to try and get these connections a little bit better than they are. Someone's gonna, I'm sure, jump all over me for taking sandpaper to the connections, but really it's not going to hurt it. We just want to get the oxidation off. It's been sitting around, this has probably been sitting out in a garage or something for the past 20 years, and the contacts have deteriorated big time. All of them have deteriorated. You can see some rust on here as well. But I just want to get this surface dirt off so that at least the connectors will stand a chance of getting a half decent ground on it. The rest of the cleaning will be done by putting cables in, putting some cleaner on it, putting some connectors or plug some cables in, just giving them a twist a bit to kind of polish it up a bit. We'll break through the crud on the connectors first. And inside as well. Clean up the connectors a bit, plugs, and then we'll just use the actual RCA plug to polish things up here. Yeah, that's the record out, so it will obviously be connected to whatever's going to the amp. Okay, let's plug. That sounds a little bit better. Tape monitor switch is also bad, as you can hear. only got one channel, so I'm gonna clean that one up as well, and that with the rest of the controls should make this thing good for a few more years. The switch is going to be much more difficult to get at than I imagine. They're going to have to pull the front panel off of it to get to the tape monitor switch because of where it's located. It's in a very, very difficult place to get to. So to do it, I got to pull the front panel off. So I got to remove all the knobs, which I've done. A couple of screws on the front and a couple of nuts, and then lift the front panel off, and then I should be able to access the switches from in behind. Might be able to get even better access to the volume control and stuff, even though I've got those cleaned already. Front panel coming off might give me a little bit even easier access to the controls themselves. I can get a little bit easier access here. I can actually get into the switch, especially the one that's causing me the trouble, which is the second one over, I believe. Yeah, second one over. I'll clean them all, but it's the tape monitor. It's this one here. This is the one that's causing most of the problems right now as far as the sound cutting out on one channel. Wipe any dust off of the veg here, although there isn't any on here anyways. It's pretty clean. The display's in good shape on this. All the lamps are lit up, so it's evenly lit. I know it's hard to see with the lights on here because I do have a fair bit of light in the shop here, but the lights are all operational, as is the signal meter. So I think we can put the front panel back on now. Might not hurt to dust the glass off. I think the glass is probably pretty clean, but it may not hurt just to wipe it down with a rag. On the inside while it's off, take off any smoke film or anything that's built up. Okay, front panel's ready to go back on. To lift the unit up a bit to seat the front panel, or pull it off the front of the bench. Makes it just as easy. Tighten up the nuts a bit. Careful not to scratch the front. And now I can start putting the knobs back on. One of these knobs actually I have to glue because it pulled apart. If you're asking me what I'm using, I'm just using standard white glue. Same stuff that you would use like for gluing wood. If I can get any out of the bottle. I don't think it's set up that well. Very, very old, this glue. I was given this years ago to sample from Main Electronics. Now they've been out of business for years because the owner of the shop passed away. So he gave me the glue. He had different types of glue. This is when he was toying with the idea of selling speaker repair kits, and he was trying different types of glue and giving out samples that he was selling. And this was this $3.95 bottle of, which is basically just white glue, but it works perfect for this type of stuff. I don't know that I would use it on speaker surrounds, but for securing a knob, it's just standard white glue like kids would use in school. Rice-based glue, basically. Just get that spread around on the knob there. And there we go. Now we're in the center. So that should do the job. And if you don't see a problem with this, what's wrong with this picture? Of course, you use it, you close it up, it's going to set up in the dispenser, and then the next time you need to use it, you got to clear it out anyway. So not really a good design of a bottle for basically repackaging wood glue. I think what he did is he sat in the back, bought this stuff in bulk, and put it in little bottles and sold it for $3 a piece. So this is what the unit looks like without all the studio lights on. As you can see, the display on it is beautiful. Nice blue display, the orange pointer, and your tuning dial, your tuning signal for AM signal strength and FM center tuning. If I switch it over to, you see here the meter when I tune the radio in. So as I tune it, I don't have an antenna on here, so I'm only going to get the one station right down at the bottom. On AM, that's signal strength.
Front variant is full for about 80%.
Sean, CKNW. AM 980 CKNW Vancouver, a chorus entertainment station.
It's still, for what it is, as you can see here, it's just a veneer over, I guess it's plywood or particle board. But, I don't know if you know it's vinyl. It might even be a vinyl veneer for that matter. It's hard to tell. This could be just a vinyl veneer cabinet. Does it say? Some of them will say simulated wood, right? Like Radio Shack was very good at that. It doesn't say, it just says, just got the caution on here. But a lot of these were not real wood. A lot of them were a vinyl veneer, and this feels like it might be a vinyl veneer. These end pieces are certainly wood. Like these pieces here are certainly wood. But I think this cabinet is just a wood cabinet with a vinyl veneer on it. But again, it was not a high-end unit. 15 watts per channel. Be a great system for someone to put in their garage or something for music, or or put out in the backyard. Certainly not going to shake many walls with 15 watts per channel, but hey, it is what it is. It's up and running again, another piece of vintage equipment that was brought back from the dead, basically, because with those controls the way they were, it was pretty much unusable when you couldn't turn the volume down any lower than like that. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.